Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. I'm your host, Gail Quinn, and Brushy's back with me again today. And I just want to start off on a sad note. Sven Goran Eriksson passed away today. Brush, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, incredibly sad. We know he's been ill for a while. He was fighting cancer. It was terminal. But it's never easy when these things happen, you know. I'm glad that he got his final little moment. I thought it was very classy from Liverpool to let him manage them during that match. And it was always his dream to manage there as well. So, yeah, nice little send off for him.
Yeah,
Obviously, England fans will be all too familiar with him. Had a great run, and before that as well. Yeah, he was around all over the place. Had a fantastic Lazio team in the late 90s.
yeah, and he did really well at Benfica also, and he got to visit both clubs in the last 9 months or so, and they were able to give him a send off as well. So at least that was something.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
So Manchester United unfortunately lost 2-1 at Brighton. Um, the positives and negatives from the game, I feel, because I felt Man United's performance was well worth at least a draw, possibly even a victory. But the first thing to address is obviously the goal, no goal of Garnacho and Xerxes. Um, I've watched it back so many times now, and I have to
Hmm.
apologise because I was initially blaming Xerxes for selfishly trying to poach a goal, but I haven't watched it back several times.
Yeah.
He slides in trying to score from Bruno's initial cross,
Hmm.
and then Garnacho tops it towards goal, and Xerxes' momentum, takes him into the path of Garnacho's shot. And unfortunately, it touches him before it goes over the line, and he's in an offside position. So it reminded me kind of Nani and Ronaldo in 2010 when Ronaldo should have scored that spectacular goal, but Nani took it off him by headed it in at the far post from an offside
That's
position.
exactly that's exactly what it reminded me of as well. I think like, on that occasion as well, what a goal Ronaldo was denied because against prime Spain, it was such a lovely run as well. He took on a few players and then to have it disallowed for that, it was yeah, crazy. For this one, yeah, for Xerxes, you know what? It's exactly the reaction I would expect from my striker. I want my striker to slide in the box. It was just incredibly unfortunate. He already made the move, and the momentum basically carried him. So there's nothing really that he could do. So very unfortunate.
Yeah, I feel if he keeps doing that and getting into those areas, he's going to score more goals than he's going to get chalked off. Um,
Definitely.
Martial was never getting in those areas, and that was one of my main criticisms of him. But if we're going to have a striker who's willing to get into the 6 yard box and try to get on the end of pullbacks and crosses, then that's going to be a positive. It's going to be a net positive. On this occasion, it wasn't. He was just incredibly unlucky. Um, so to go from 2-1 up and feeling as if we're going to win the game to actually losing the game 2-1 was very, very deflating and very hard to take, considering we conceded yet again. It like was the 97th minute this time, all too
Hmm.
familiar, because we've seen that so many times last season. And you had 10 United players in the box, only 4 Brighton players in the box, and 3 of them were unmarked. Absolutely inexcusable, Brush.
Both of the goals that we conceded were atrocious, really. The first one, I think there was a calamity at the back between Maguire and Martinez. Both of them were to blame. Probably Maguire a bit more for the first one. But then after that initial mistake, I have to say I was impressed with the way he recovered. In years gone by, we've seen it where he's made one mistake and then the confidence completely crumbles. But and then it's calamity after calamity. But I actually thought he recovered pretty well, and the rest of the game he was all right. But yeah, who was at the back post for that second goal? Left back, nowhere to be seen. Yeah, they were all caught ball watching in the middle as well, and yeah, there's no excuses at this level for that.
Yeah, with the winning goal, Casemiro was kind of getting the brunt of the blame because he was marking that zone at the back post
Hmm.
and he vacated it because he was hoping there was going to be a counter attack, which didn't materialize. And then there was nobody there out there. 4 people went towards the ball, and of course Dallo being the one closest to the crosser of the ball, and he once again, Dallo did not block the cross, which isn't going to come as much of
No.
a surprise to anyone. Um, and there's three men at the back post totally unmarked. I just cannot believe it.
Hmm.
Um, and as you say, with the first goal, somehow the cross comes in. Maguire just leaves it. He should be putting it into Rosette, but do you know what I think it was? He was afraid of scoring an own goal, so he didn't want to touch it.
Yeah,
Um,
that you could be right there. Yeah, having watched the replay, I think that might have been the hesitancy.
and then it comes back in again. Unfortunately, Licha Martinez is trying to mark two players, and he goes towards one, and that leaves Wilbeck totally free. So just an absolute mess, really, at the back for both goals, both very
Yep.
avoidable. And yeah, we were talking last week. Uh, I can't remember who was on the show with me. I don't know if it was you or not, but um, we were discussing Maguire doing really well against Fulham and whether or not he was going to keep his place against
Yeah.
Brighton because Delict is probably going to start sooner or later. Well, as it happens, I think Maguire had a pretty poor game, in my opinion.
Mm.
And perhaps starting Delict would have been the better option in hindsight. But
Um,
yeah,
I, I think it's a difficult one that one, Carl, because obviously the first game I thought he did very well. So you would expect momentum to continue, So I think it would have been, yeah, with the benefit of hindsight, it's easy for us to say, yeah, the lit should have played. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think I like the idea of players keeping their positions based on form.
yeah, I totally agree with that. But if we're basing it on form this time around, I don't think Maguire's going to start against Liverpool. Um,
No,
once he,
no. But this is another conundrum now though, because do you bring Delit in out of the cold to start his first game against Liverpool?
Yeah, well, that's the decision the manager's going to have to make because
Hmm.
he fielded an unchanged team against Brighton, and I didn't think that the performance against Fulham warranted that because it was the bench who won us the game later on in that
Yeah.
match. Uh, I'm going to say it again and again and again. Garnacho has to start, and Rashford should be the one to drop out, and the manager finally needs to do that against Liverpool. But
Yeah.
I don't believe that the manager could name an unchanged team again. His team selections and the substitutions are very bizarre. What did you make of
Mm.
McTominay coming on for Bruno Fernandes? Bruno didn't like it very much, did he?
Yeah, I think we're all quite baffled to see Bruno come off, especially someone who he's always relied on as well and always sees every minute of every game. I thought it was a baffling decision, and that kind of killed us going forward. Garnacho, I like that change, and it was evident to see the difference he made. And you're absolutely right. On form, Rashi should be nowhere near that first starting 11.
No, definitely not. And he's got a lot of fans out there, Rashford. People don't like criticizing him on certain podcasts.
Mm.
And when he doesn't play well, they just ignore him. And if he does play well, they're quick to talk about it. But I have to be honest and say that he shouldn't be in the starting 11 at present on current form. He's been in form for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
And when you've got Garnacho available, you have to pick him. It's a no-brainer for me. But it seems as if Ten Hag doesn't really want to rock the boat early in the season because
Hmm.
Rashford is obviously one of the more senior players. Um, so Anthony came on as well. What was that all about? He shouldn't be
Ah,
anywhere near the squad.
poor guy. Can't catch a break. Well, mind you, initially when he came on and he put that one ball into the box, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is positive." Uh,
Yes, that was the one where McTominay had a shot on goal and it appeared to be blocked
yeah,
by a hand. And
yeah.
it didn't get replayed or checked
Hmm.
by VAR seemingly. I felt that was a shout for a penalty, but no talk of it whatsoever. So I just want to get on to what Dan has been saying here. He says, "Hi lads, hope you're well. Not the best result on Saturday. We did play okay in spells, but the defense was not good.
Hmm.
Um, Maguire, lazy leg, and Delict has to start, and Xerxes in for Mount, Garnacho in for Rashford." He says, "We have missed that so much, having a striker like Xerxes being in the box, very harsh, being disallowed." He says it was actually Anthony who pulled out of the challenge, so I blame him as well. Yeah, Anthony did did pull out of a challenge there in the build up to the winning goal. bit harsh blaming Dallo for second goal. Maguire lazy and not good enough to
I
play.
tell you what, Dallo stopped it from being a third for them. Onana was beaten. It was it was going in from Milner.
Yeah, he cleared one off the line. Yeah, he's done
Yeah,
that
yeah.
a few times. Although he's cleared balls off the line and stuff, but there's always a mistake in him, and he never blocks crosses. Never,
Mhm,
he's always 40 off his man. He's always backing off, and staying about 5 to 10 yards away. And you're like, come on, you have to be aggressive. You have to go in and try and make a tackle. Um, yeah, Dollo never fills me full of confidence, and obviously he's worse at left back than he is at right back. But
mhm,
yeah, I he didn't do enough there to stop the cross coming in, because he doesn't try and, as I say, he doesn't try and make a tackle. He just backs off. He's too passive. Uh, okay, another that actually, actually disgraced taking Bruno off last 10 minutes to go and don't take our best player off. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, because the downgrade in quality between McTominay and Bruno is pretty stark. Even if Bruno's not having a great game, we know that he's
mhm,
capable of big moments at any stage in a football match. So, did you see he had this really cheeky smile on his face when he was running off, didn't he? He didn't.
mhm.
He looked quite confused by that decision from the manager. Um, he obviously didn't expect it. But Dan here brings up the Mount and Xerxes situation. Now, here's what I've noticed in these opening two games is that United seem, when Bruno's playing as a false nine, and Mount as the number 10, United United look very compact and very difficult to play through. Um, but once Mount's leading the press, he's excellent at that. So we've got lots of bodies in midfield, and teams find it very hard to break us down. But when Mount comes off and a striker comes on, um, that goes away. We're suddenly easier to play through. But when Mount's on the field, um, there's no there's a lack of goal threat there. We've
Mhm.
missed six big chances this season already, according to the official stats. We're wasting an awful lot of opportunities with the false number 9. But when Xerxes comes on, we lose our compactness in midfield a little bit, but we do gain having a forward there who can get us a goal, and he almost did that, obviously. So it's a catch-22 situation where, when we're playing the false 9 with Mason Mount in the team, we're compact, but we're lacking a striker. But when the striker comes on, we're a bit more open, but we look more potent up front. So it's Ten Hag needs to get the balance right, doesn't he?
He absolutely does. With Xerxes as well, I'd be interested to get your thoughts actually, Carl, because in the first game, I saw that he wasn't in the usual pockets where you would expect a striker, and he's come out and mentioned that he's a 9.5, and likes to sort of drop back and try to link play in that. So in that kind of system with that kind of striker, I'm intrigued to see how he would work with Hoyland or someone just proper in the box to work off of. I was kind of hoping that Bruno would make those marauding runs into the box, but he doesn't seem to be working out that way when we play with a false nine.
No, we're wasting so many opportunities. We don't have someone
Hmm.
who's clinical when we're playing with false 9. Yeah, and we look a bigger goal threat when the number 9 is on the pitch, but we
Yeah,
lose that compactness in midfield. And Mason Mount is excellent at the press. We lose that as well, so it's hard to know. Um, is it, pr- Probably when Ugarte comes in, he might help us provide more of a balance um, with regards to that. Um, I would say in certain away games against the bigger sides, Ugarte might partner Casemiro in the middle of the park,
hmm,
and also he can deputise for Casemiro. That's going to happen a lot with having so many European games. Um, but yeah, do you feel that there's an opportunity there to play a striker more and not lose your compactness in midfield once Ugarte is in the 11? What do you think?
I certainly hope so. I think with Ugarte, because he's a destroyer, isn't he? So he will bring a level of protection to that defense, and that's what I expect him to do. And then I think he would also allow the likes of Mainu to get forward and on the ball a bit more. Um, Also, I think Mason Mount, it's clear to see that he wants to embed him into the team this season, and we know what he offers. I call him Marathon Mount. He does the hard yards. He puts a proper shift in. So he's going to do a lot of legwork in that midfield. It's just going to take a while, isn't it? Because I need to see exactly how he's going to fit into the same team as Bruno Fernandes. Something's a bit off for me, but I don't think moving one of them out wide is really the way to go about it. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, if he starts with the false nine again against Liverpool, he's clearly intent on doing this throughout the season.
Hmm.
But what happens when Xerxes and Hoyland are both available? I don't know. Now, with Rashford being so out of form, once Hoyland's available and you got Xerxes there as well, there'll be more pressure on the manager to drop Rashford once we've got more options available in forward positions. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out once everybody's available.
Definitely. It will also be interesting to see if he goes to some kind of two up top. That would be interesting. And then see if Rashi can be up there and one of them plays off of him, be it Xerxes or whoever. But like you say, he's got to play himself into form. And we've just blindly had faith, haven't we, that he has one good season, one bad season, and we're due a good one. But he's not done anything thus far to give me any kind of confidence that he's going to regain that form.
No, we were hoping for a, a big season this year after such a poor season
Yeah.
from Rashford last time out. But he hasn't started off well at all. It looks like the same Rashford from last season. Of course, he had the ball in the back of the net and that was ruled out for offside as well. Although it was
Hmm.
a bit of a fluke, really. Keeper saved it and it kind of hit him on the back of the heel and went in. Um, but he was caught offside on a few occasions. Yeah, it was frustrating how many times we were getting caught offside in that game.
Yep.
But Ahmad, of course, scored that deflected goal. It was well taken from him. Um, but he missed a sitter. I had to credit Dallo on that left-footed cross where
Hmm.
Ahmad volleyed wide and should have scored. That was an amazing cross, and Ahmad should have put that away, shouldn't he?
Yeah, yeah. A mixed game from Ahmad. Obviously, very difficult for him as well, having lost his mum. I was surprised he played, actually. I assumed we would have given him some time off. So full credit to him for even, being in the mental mind state to want to play. Must have been very difficult for the young man. In terms of his performance, I was very happy that he got involved and got the goal. But there was a few times where you can still see that he's shaky and needs to improve a lot. That one ball that Garnacho played to him, and he was just caught out of position. He's not ready to control it, and yeah, there's a few things he needs to work on really at this level.
Definitely, he's not the finished article by any means. Um, Dan Fenton in the comments also mentions Mason Mount being taken off. Now, at the time, I was very frustrated because I thought for once he really deserved to stay on the pitch, and then he came out half time. But we since heard from Ten Hag after the game
That it
that
was a knock. Yeah.
yeah, it was taken off as a precaution. So I hope he doesn't. He's going to be available for the Liverpool game. So they won't take
Hmm.
because of his injury history. They're not going to take any risk with him at all,
And that's fair enough.
especially when you have Xerxes available there to come on.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, hopefully Mount. It's not going to be another 6 weeks on the sidelines. Hopefully he'll be available to play against Liverpool. But it will be interesting to see what lineup he does pick in that game because I think changes are needed. Um, for me, Delict and Garnacho have to come in at the very least.
Mm.
And will he pick Xerxes or Mount? I won't blame him either way on that one because I
The
can see the
Delit
art.
one is the Delit one. I think is a big call because I don't know if we just drop him in at the deep end against Liverpool.
Yeah, well, he obviously he's coming in to be a starter on Ten Hag,
He is, yeah.
so sooner or later
So
that has to happen.
that is very true. I don't know. You know what? Knowing him, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make any changes. You know, if he sets up the same again.
It's very possible, very very possible.
Yeah,
He can really frustrate you with his team
he can.
selections and substitutions.
Yeah, yeah. We've seen the stubbornness before, and like you say, if he's working on something new, you know, I can see it being exactly the same, where he just want to stick to his guns and see how it pans out.
Yeah, but Rashford is not doing enough to stay in the team, in my
Hmm.
opinion. And with Ahmad now scoring in that game, you can't drop him for Liverpool. So if Garnacho is going to come in, it has to be for Rashford. So I'll be watching with interest to see what happens there. I won't be surprised if there's no changes or just one. But I would say we should be making three, to be honest with you. But
Hmm.
yeah, it was just frustrating afternoon. Really, really, I was totally ruined my weekend. Obviously, you probably felt the same way because it was an early kickoff on a Saturday.
Early kickoff, yeah. Hate the 12 hate the 12:30s for that reason. It ruins the entire weekend, doesn't it? Because obviously we get off to a losing start, and then you know you check the results later on in the day, and everybody else goes and bloody wins. Ah,
Yeah, most of our traditional rivals are got 6 points out of six.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so we've fallen behind already, and we're only 2 games in.
And that's the thing, you know how competitive this league is. So you know, there's no point now where you can really rest on your laurels. You need to get points on the board.
What's immensely frustrating about it is that there's going to be games where we've lost to teams that have played better than us, and you can accept that to an extent. But
Hmm.
that it didn't feel that way on Saturday. I thought we were worthy of a win or at least a draw. Um,
Certainly, the first half, I thought we were the better team. Just needed to take our chances really. In that final third, we're toothless. We need to find that killer instinct, and then defensively, obviously, I can't really blame the manager for those mistakes because that is just lapses in concentration. The players out there on the field entrusted to do a job, they need to be doing better.
yeah, there's no way four players should be going towards the ball and
Yeah,
and just and then leaving three men unmarked at the back post.
mm,
10 United players in the penalty area and
yeah,
three
yeah.
players.
Now the amount of time Jao Pedro had was an absolute joke. Time and space. Ah,
Yeah, they were queuing up at the back post and nobody was anywhere near them. We were all watching from a distance.
yeah.
Uh, and there was only four, as I say, 10 United players in their own box, four Brighton attackers, and three of them were unmarked. It's absolutely incredible.
Ah, insane, insane stuff.
So my player ratings from the day, these are going to be a bit up and down, I must say.
This is going to be interesting.
I don't think Onana was at fault for the goals, really. Um, uh, there was one ropey moment where he gave the ball away and he had to make a sliding tackle. Do you remember that?
Hmm.
For a corner. And it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, when it comes off, we can be like, "Phew, that's yeah, it's what a keeper does." But yeah, I can't lie, that gave me a heart attack.
every time the
It was,
ball's at his feet now, I'm worried about what he's going to do with it.
yeah, yeah. Because you see, because if you get that wrong, not only does he get a penalty, the give away a penalty, but he might get sent off as well.
Yeah, he had to make that and he did, but
Yeah,
it was all his own making as well.
yeah, yeah.
So two goals conceded, and he had a real rugby moment there. So five for Onana. Um, Masarahi, he was the one who set Ahmad away for that goal. He assisted that goal, didn't he? Individual goal, of course,
Hmm.
but I think he was the one who played the pass. So uh, I wouldn't say the goals were his fault. So I'll give him a six. Maguire, I thought obviously a massive drop off from the Fulham game. Um, he made that mistake for the first goal, and he didn't have a great day. Um, so it would be a four for Maguire. Martinez probably not his greatest day in the United shirt. So I would give him five. Dallo, amazing cross that Ahmad should have put away. Didn't wasn't aggressive enough to prevent the cross for the winning goal, and that's what he done. That's what he does all game, and that's what he done a lot in this game as well. Just just far too passive when somebody's running at him. He just backs off, and I don't like that in the fullback. I want a fullback to go in and make a tackle at some stage.
Hmm.
Um, so a five for Dallo. Casemiro, yeah, probably the person who was most at fault for the winning goal. I've watched it, must have been a dozen times now, and you could see him just vacating his position at the back post because he wants to be involved in a counter attack, which didn't materialize in the end. So yeah, that wasn't great from him. So Casemiro would get five from me. Menu, I- he had a in terms of the stats, he made a lot of interceptions and completed a lot of take-ons, but it felt like a quiet game. But the stats say
Hmm.
otherwise, so no, we'll give him a six. Um, so Mason Mount, yeah, had a good first half. I thought was one of United's best players in that half, and unfortunately came off with a knock at half time. So I'll give him a six because it was only 45 minutes. Marcus Rashford was very, very poor again, getting caught offside, not reading the line, um, just not playing well. He's lacking confidence, big time. Like he's not taking people on. 90% of the time when he receives the ball, he's just stopping and passing it back, and that's a man who's well short of the confidence that he had 2 seasons ago. He was just taking people on all the time. He was getting in good areas. He was scoring goals, and he's miles off that at the moment, I'm afraid. So a four for Rashford. Amad Diallo scored one, should have scored two in mixed afternoon. But a net positive, I would say. So I'll give him a six. And Bruno Fernandes, not one of his best days, substituted. I would always keep him on because he's always capable of a moment of magic. So I'll give him a five. And Garnacho had a big impact from the bench, so should have had a goal, really, shouldn't he have?
Very
Um,
unlucky. He should have had a goal in the first game as well.
yeah, but that was partly his own fault. The ball was played behind him, but
Yeah.
he also should have scored if it was an empty net. So I'll give him a six for his impact. Joshua Xerxes will get the same. Um, Mctominay uh, and Delict and Anthony probably didn't play long enough to get them a rating. Uh,
No. And
I thought
it looks like it may be farewell for Scotty.
yeah, I thought McTominay was dreadful when he came on. To be honest, he was a lot of our counter attacks were breaking down because he couldn't control the football.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, Ten Hag, as I say, frustrated with the starting 11 on the substitution, so he would get a three from me. Uh, yeah, looks like McTominay is going to join Napoli for 30 million euros, and United would get a percentage of the sell-on as well. So, what's your thoughts on that, Rush?
Yeah, I think that's it's a fair offer. He's 28 in December, I believe. He's at that age now where he owes it to himself to go and try and get first team football elsewhere. Napoli's it's a very interesting move. That it's not where I expected him to go, but good luck to him. He's been a good servant. He's always been a squad player at best. I've never been as harsh on him as others because I see him for the limited player that he is. But he played his role and he played it well. Yeah, thank you, Scotty. And yeah, all the best in the future.
Yeah, I think he'll be remembered fondly, especially for that 10 goal season he had last year and
Oh,
rescuing us
most definitely.
in games against Brighton or not Brighton,
Yep.
Brentford. Sorry, he got
Brentford. Yeah, yeah.
those two late goals. Um, yeah, he got two goals against Chelsea as well. I think last season. Yeah, there was
Hmm.
10 overall. Um, but yeah, he's a fox in the box, shall we say? But he's a midfielder that isn't particularly creative or good on the ball, and I think now is the right time to move him on.
Yeah, and this is part of the problem as well, isn't it, Carl? Because he's a midfielder, and the first thing that we can say positive about him is that he scores goals. you know, it should really be the midfielding qualities that we talk up, but yeah. Yeah, but it's not the case. So I do think in Ugarte we're getting someone who is definitely going to upgrade that midfield.
Yeah, and if he doesn't score, he literally offers nothing else, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? So even when we saw that change, you were thinking, it was kind of a throwback to the Fellaini days. We're just hoping he can get on the end of something.
Yeah, I think he scored those two goals against Chelsea in December, and then I think he started the next 9 games and didn't
Mm.
score at all in any
Yeah.
of those games. So that kind of sums him up really.
Hmm.
Um, but Ugarte, as you say, he's like a Makaleli type player. He's a destroyer, a specialist in that position.
Hmm.
Very different. Casemiro loves to get forward. Ugarte is much more disciplined, and I think we need someone like that. So
Yeah, yeah. And as for Scotty to Napoli, I mean, we have to keep in mind the manager there is Antonio Conte. So it doesn't surprise me that he's a fan of McTominay because Jose spoke highly of him, and Jose is a similar manager.
yeah, he wants to get Billy Gilmore in as well. I think at Napoli,
Yeah, he
but
does. Yeah, yeah, and Lukaku. I think Lukaku's already on his way.
yeah, him and Conte and Lukaku have linked
Yeah,
up before,
yeah.
and yeah, I think Victor Osimhen is going to make way.
Hmm.
I don't.
We
Could it,
just have to see if it's to Chelsea or if it's to Saudi. I hear there's Saudi interest in him as well.
yeah, to me that would be a real waste of his career if he was to
Mm.
go out there at this stage. Um, man is capable. A man could start for anyone, in my opinion. So he can start for Real Madrid, really. I suppose, despite the
And
options that
talking of
they have.
Saudi, and talking of Saudi, a little segue here, but shout out to Paulo Dybala because he turned down a deal from Saudi for 75 million euros over the course of 3 years. So it just goes to show it's not all about money for everyone. I'll tell you what, he's a better man than me, Carl.
Yeah,
I would have went there and been absolutely miserable for the next 3 years of my life.
yeah. A lot of players will see it as a long-term investment, and other players
Yeah.
just they don't want
Hmm.
to go live in the Middle East.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just
No, because he put out a statement. He said that he considered his family and how they're settled and everything else. And fair play to him. Fair play to him.
because it's a completely different culture and climate to Europe.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
yeah.
not everybody will be bought. And
I'll tell you what, air conditioning costs a hell of a lot less than 75 million.
yeah, absolutely. But we seen with Jordan Henderson, he didn't stick it very long, did he? He only
No, he
lasted about six
didn't.
months.
He didn't. Yeah, yeah. And then he was off to Ajax, wasn't he? But mind you, only a couple of months there, and he's probably earned more than he would have done if he had spent a year anywhere else in Europe.
Yeah, some people will find it difficult to acclimatise. Sure, look at even
Yeah,
some foreign players who come to England; they struggle to acclimatise. So these things
definitely.
will
Yeah,
happen.
like you just have to look at the South Americans and Spanish players that have come over. It always takes them a while.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to get Ugarte on a permanent deal now because we've got McTominay off the. We're going to get McTominay off the books,
Mm,
and Hannibal Mesbury is going to go to Burnley on a permanent
Burnley,
transfer as well.
yes.
So
Do we know what kind of figure that is? I assume it's probably going to be like a Donny van der Beek type incentivized deal where the initial fee's kind of nominal. But I don't know too many details at the moment about
yeah,
the
we haven't got
figures.
all the details yet.
Okay.
I doubt it's going to be anything more than 5 million, really, at
Yeah, yeah. I
maximum.
mean, if we could somehow call the money back, it would be great. We spent 9 million on him.
Yeah, it hasn't quite worked out, has it?
No.
But because he did so well in the championship at Birmingham, I'm not surprised that other championship clubs this season
Hmm.
are after him.
Yeah,
Um,
it would be smart to put a sell on clause on.
oh yeah, I think we'll do that as well. I think we're doing that with pretty much all the players that we've sold.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's,
Camboala's got one as well, I think. Yeah, actually starting to
yeah,
do some decent business
McTominay's
now.
going to have one too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And that makes sense actually, because if he doesn't settle in Italy, then in 12 months' time he might be looking to return to the Premier League.
yeah, and very smart to having a sell-on clause with Greenwood as well because
Yeah,
he could yet be sold for massive money to a big club, but he's
yeah,
young.
yeah.
So United
I
could,
mean, he could even go to the biggest club in France if he does well there. He could end up
yeah,
moving to PSG.
he started off like a house on fire, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, he's scoring goals.
Um, so so McTominay's going to leave and make way for Ugarte, and I think that'll allow us to bring in, rather than being a loan with an obligation, we can just buy him outright.
Mm,
This month, Ugarte, and Hannibal's going to make way, and Jadon Sancho could well go to Juventus or Chelsea. What do you think about that, Brush?
yes. The Juventus one. So they've actually signed two wingers in the last couple of days. So I was a bit confused by that one. So if it is a loan, I hope it's with an obligation. But yeah, interesting one. And then as for Chelsea, I don't like the rumours I've been hearing about a potential swap or part exchange because the names I'm hearing linked coming to us are Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell, neither of whom I'm happy about. Sterling, because obviously, he's about to be 30 years old and his wages are ridiculous as well. He's on 325 grand a week. So I would like to go nowhere near that. And Ben Chilwell, well, what would that achieve apart from give Malacia and Shaw company in the medical room?
My thoughts exactly. Um,
So if they want to, if it's a cash offer, then brilliant. The only players I want to see from them are probably ones that they are never planning to sell. Cole Palmer, and we can talk. Maybe Malagusto as well. I don't mind it.
yeah, I hope at some stage we get that United fan, Cole Palmer, to Old
Yeah,
Trafford. He's different gravy and brilliant again yesterday.
yeah, yeah. The fact that
Um,
he's a United fan as well, I think, just does it for me.
and Cucurella, I'll do that swap deal all day as well.
Yeah, yeah, Kooks. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Who would have thought that 12 months ago, eh? What a tournament he had over the summer.
I wish we'd have
Um,
got him on loan last year and then made it a permanent in January.
we were going to, weren't we? But then they played him in the cup game, and
Yeah,
yeah, and then the attention turned to regular. Yeah, yeah, it's a real shame.
yeah, and I think it's Chelsea who want to push Sterling towards United, not so much United wanting him.
Hmm.
Um,
Definitely,
but
because I don't know how they get rid of him. To be honest, he's got 3 years left on his contract. He's declined as a player, and yeah, crazy wages. Outside of Saudi, I don't know how they're going to shift him.
um, I don't think it's just let's just look at it from a hypothetical point of view. If we did a Sancho and Sterling swap, it wouldn't make sense for either of them because
No,
Sancho's not getting in the United squad, and equally he's going to find it difficult to get in Chelsea's starting 11. And
yeah,
the same with Sterling, he's just going to be a squad player for United if he came. So
yeah, that's the thing. The only way I would consider Raheem Sterling is if it's a loan deal with no obligation to buy, and they cover the majority of his wages. And even then, because he's not a starter for us, I don't think he'll come in and be a squad option that
yeah,
just covers left and right. You know?
but he wants to play. So
Yeah,
none of this really makes sense to me.
it doesn't make sense at all. And then obviously, I've been crying out for a left back. I would love a left back, any left back, but not Ben Chilwell, just because of the injury record and that. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if he didn't have the injury record, I'd be all over it. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the last thing we need.
yeah.
Um,
That's it. So yeah, so unless they want to get the checkbook out, I don't know. But I can see Sancho leaving one way or another though in the next week.
yeah, it could be to Juve with a loan with an obligation to buy.
Hmm.
Could be something like that. We'll see how it pans out.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, because one of the wingers they've signed, I think that's what they've done. They've signed Nico Gonzalez from Fiorentina, and I think that's one of those deals where it's a loan but with an obligation. And I'm not sure if it's the same with Conceição from Porto. It might be.
what do you think of Chiesa on loan if Sancho goes the other way?
Again, Chiesa, wonderful, wonderful talent. His injury record is what concerns me. Even at the Euros, we saw it. Like the way he goes down, yeah, it doesn't fill me with confidence. It's a real shame because I do think he's a quality player. Um, they're desperate to get rid, actually. So I hear he's available for between 10 to 15 million. Um, so yeah, if somebody's willing to take a punt on him, could work out. Um, yeah, I'd rather just the money if I'm being totally honest with Sancho.
Yeah, with the injury record in mind, it's a no from me then. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. And then especially with the physicality of our league as well, it's if he's got those kind of injuries and he's playing in Italy, which is a slower pace, I don't know how he would do over here. I'd leave that alone. Very unfortunate though. Very talented player. His dad was an absolute baller as well. I used to love watching him as a kid.
yeah, and Dan agrees with everything we've been saying about Sancho and Chilwell. Yeah, we need to stay away from injury-prone players,
Yeah,
and
that's
yeah,
it. The
we
the
need
greatest ability is availability. We used to say that when Martial was here.
yeah, and we need cash for Sancho. Yeah, I agree with that. Um, yeah, so McTominay is going to be pure profit, so that really helps and helps with us meeting the obligations of PSR and all that. So, and
Hmm.
will allow us to bring Ugarte in on right away without having to loan him first. Uh, yeah, so at the moment it looks like three out and one in, but yeah,
Yeah,
you the left back situation is something I would like solved. Because I feel like Shaw just going to be missing for large chunks of the season, and
yeah.
Malacia might never play
Uh,
again.
yeah, this is the thing. I mean, I'll be perfectly happy with just a loan signing, to be honest, because I do think at some point in the season we're going to give young Harry Amas a chance. It's just that you don't want to thrust him into the deep end. Obviously, he's still growing. It's going to take time, but I think Ten Hag gave him about said, oh, it'll probably take about 12 weeks before he can be in contention. So yeah, so I know he'll definitely get his chance at some point. So just the backup option. I'd even take Regulon back.
Yeah, but the only thing with that is that Ten Hag wasn't really using him when he was here, so I don't see a
He
point.
wasn't, no. So that's the thing.
Uh, we might get somebody obscure on um, deadline day, but there was a link to now the Turkish left back has went to Brighton now. They've spent an awful lot of
Yes,
money this in this window.
Kadioglu about
Yeah,
30 million euros, I think. Yeah, we were linked with him.
had he have
He's
gone
a sorry. Go ahead.
had he have gone to Fulham, that would have freed up an opportunity for us to sign Anthony Robinson, the
Hmm.
USA left back, on maybe a 1 year loan or something. But that's obviously not on the
Yeah.
table with them not getting a new left back Fulham. So, and I don't think Brighton really have any other left backs of interest to us. I think
No, no.
they've been playing basically a midfielder in that position at the start of the season.
Hmm.
So what we going to say?
I forgot now. Can't have been that important. He'll come back to me.
Yes, I think Harry Amas will probably play the odd Europa League uh, league phase game. That's what it's called now, I think.
Yeah,
Um, I think if we're playing like minnows at Old Trafford in a league phase game in the Europa League, I can see him starting one or two of those. But it's not a good idea to make him your first choice left back when he's just completed his GCSEs and be
yeah,
terrible.
exactly.
Terrible pressure on him, and if he makes one mistake, then you know it's going to be like all social media will jump on him and say he's
Yeah, that's
terrible.
what it is. So we need to really limit his exposure. And also now, pressure will be at an all-time high because obviously people have seen the likes of Lamine Yamal, who's a similar age, but that's an anomaly. It's not the norm.
Yeah, he's more of a Wayne Rooney, isn't he? He's an exception, not the norm. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. But then, in this social media age, people won't add context. They won't bother. They'll just group all the kids into one and just say stuff like, oh, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
yeah, there's only certain players that applies to.
Hmm.
Other players need time to develop. And yeah, Dan here says he would love for our Ten Hag would give Amos a go, a left back. He played well in pre-season, as the saying goes. You're gonna follow him, yeah. He's not no cliche again. Um, yeah, I think he's going. He looks like Ten Hag's going to be careful with Harry Amos and be not throwing him into the deep end too early. He doesn't think that he's ready at the moment.
Mm,
Obviously, he felt that Manu was, and he was right about that. But there's some people are just ready at 17, 18 for senior football, and other people, it takes time. They don't play senior football until they're 20, 21.
definitely.
So we wait and see on that one. But we definitely need a left back because um, as everyone knows, anyone who's ever listened to this podcast or watched this show, they know that I'm a huge critic of Dallo, but he's even worse on the left hand side than he is at right back. So, and I hate right footed players in that position. It just really, really bugs me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that either. But with that left hand side though, I do give him a bit of leeway because obviously that's not his position, right? I know he can cover there, but he's not. He's not a left back. I always prefer out and out players in their position.
Yeah. And I don't think Marcus Alonso is an option either. He's 33 now, coming
Yeah,
34. He's a
yeah.
free agent.
Hasn't got a defensive bone in his body either.
No, he's more of a left wing back, really, a free kick
Yeah.
taker. Uh, yeah, and there's other reasons that I don't want him at United either, to be honest with you, which
Mhm.
I'm not going to go into today.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, we, we we could do with getting someone in the final days of the window like we did last year. Unfortunately, we're in this situation again where both left backs are injured, which is a total mess, to be honest. But I think if we get Ugarte in, that's five senior signings. We've done a
Yep.
really good work with regard to youth signings as well. Um,
Mhm.
and we've we've got a lot of dead wood out the door as well, and made some money for a change in the transfer market. So I'd have to give this window an 8 out of 10 so far. What do you think, Rush?
Uh, I probably wouldn't go that high. In in terms of the moves we're making, though, I do think we're moving in the right direction. I think the window's been above average, but I wouldn't give it that high. I don't know, man. I was thinking about a 6 out of 10. If we're looking at the finances and stuff, yeah, you could push it up slightly because we're finally actually, making sales and looking at the bottom line and yeah, looking at net spend and things that we've completely neglected over the years.
The reason why I'm giving it such a high mark is because of what we've been used to under Woodward.
Oh, I
The
mean, if it if it's in comparison to that, then this is night and day.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm just trying to keep it sort of level-headed because I don't want to get too giddy and apply more pressure, because we've seen so many changes in such a short amount of time, and it's going to take time for it to correlate onto the pitch. But as first windows go, I think this is a pretty solid one. If we could get a left back in, I'd be pretty happy. Another midfielder would be nice as well, but I think that might be asking too much. I'm more than happy for Collier to get some minutes to replace the McTominay ones.
yeah. The McTominay's departure could be good news for Toby Collier. I know
Yeah.
Ten Hag likes the player, and I can see him getting Europa League matches as well.
Mm.
So that's something to look forward to. Dan says yes, Dallo not left back, but I think he's doing well for us, not in my opinion. Um, I think Maz is that good at left back. Yes, you got the deal done. It would be 8 out of 10. I would love us to buy Ivan Tony from Brentford to top it off. I
He's
think
another
his
one who's been linked with Saudi.
yeah, and his Brentford career looks over now. They're not picking
Yeah.
him anymore, and he looks like he's desperate to leave. Um, I believe Arsenal didn't go after him in the end because they were had concerns about his personality, which is an
Yes.
interesting.
I
Um,
think we've spoken about that here before, have we not? Uh, I had similar concerns. Just his off-field antics and the way he talked about Brentford on camera, and obviously the gambling stuff and all the rest of it. From a pure footballing point of view, I do think he's a talented player.
yeah, yeah, I think he's going to end up leaving in the next few days from maybe a
Yeah,
knockdown
yeah, because
fee.
he's only got a year left, hasn't he? So it's either they sell him now or he walks for free.
Yeah, but I think we are going to focus
Away.
on
Hmm.
developing Hoyland and Xerxes. I don't think we're going to sign a senior
Yeah,
forward.
no, I can't see us getting a third striker, especially in this time where we only start with one striker.
Or
Had it
none.
been a system, yeah, or none, exactly. Had it been a system where we had two strikers, then I could see the logic in going for a third. At this moment in time, it doesn't make any sense for me, especially with PSR and all those things into consideration as well. Yeah, so I can't see too much activity. I'll be grateful if a left back comes in. If not, I'm quite satisfied with this window, especially if we manage to shift Jaden as well. I do think we'll be a bit tight in the forward options, but you still got two covering each position. And it might be a blessing in disguise because if we manage to move him on now, I think we'll be well prepared for next summer.
Yeah, and see when Hoyland and Laniero come back, it's going to be like a strong looking squad.
Hmm.
Um, we're definitely going to have a stronger bench than we did last season. So I'm really pleased about that, and we're going to need it with all these European games.
Definitely.
And obviously Ugarte is still to come in. He'd probably make his debut from the bench against Southampton on the 14th of September, I think.
Hmm.
Unless they get that done in the next couple of days, then maybe he'd be on the bench against Liverpool. But you know what Ten Hag's like. He likes to bed people in very slowly. Ugarte would
Yeah.
probably make his debut on his first. He'd probably start his first game on Boxing Day. The way Ten Hag likes to bed people in. Do you remember Casemiro took
Yeah,
him about
yeah,
6 weeks to start again?
Cast took ages. I remember, yeah, I had PTSD, during that one because I was like, oh, where have I seen this before? And it reminded me of what Ollie did with Donny.
Yeah, thankfully Ten Hag wanted Casemiro more than Oli wanted Donny.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
God, he left for an absolute minimal fee.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, crazy.
half a million. I know there's
Yep.
add-ons, but he's not a player who tends to meet add-ons.
No.
Given his form in the last 4 years,
Hmm.
and he's had loan after loan after loan that hasn't worked out. So yeah, I think that at least he's left on a permanent transfer now, and I think that's the right move. I hope it works out for him. Um,
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. Hope he rebuilds his career.
hopefully we don't get an injury
What was that? Sorry.
helpful. So it's about hopefully we don't have an injury crisis like last season. Um,
Yeah,
we need to manage people's minutes carefully, and if they're in the red zone and close to a potential muscle injury, then we need to leave them out of the 11, and that's up to the medical staff to get that right.
definitely.
Yeah, don't want to be sitting here in October with 10 injuries. I want to
Hmm.
avoid that nightmare scenario. Um, so Liverpool up next, then, Brush. Are you confident of getting a result?
Hell no. But I'm trying not to think about that for the time being, Carl, because it's only the start of the week. Yeah, I'm just gonna push it to the back of my mind until Saturday.
But you know what? Um, I think United will beat Liverpool at Old Trafford. Though these games
I hope so, because
don't.
these are the ones that you'd expect the players to just understand the mission and be
Yeah,
really up for. And I'll tell you what, they haven't looked convincing, thus far. I know they've got 2 wins in 2, but
yeah,
they haven't looked great.
not convincing. But if you listen to Sky Sports, Arnie Slot is the second coming of Jurgen Klopp already. Uh, whereas Ten Hag is absolutely lampooned on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah, the bias is crazy, isn't it, in the media?
But yeah, the media always favour Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the United players will feed off the crowd against Liverpool at Old Trafford. Last season we were unbeaten against Liverpool. I was there for the 4-3 in the FA Cup, amazing football match, which we won and knocked them out of the cup. I mean, we beat Liverpool and City to win the FA Cup, so we fully deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Liverpool players will be overwhelmed by the crowd. Um, I can see us, winning this maybe, and we've beaten Liverpool a lot at Old Trafford in recent seasons, even if we're going into the game with no form at all. So I'm not worried about not having momentum going into the game, and they're not been pulling up trees under any slot so far,
No.
uh, in games against Ipswich and Brentford. Uh, so yeah, these games actually don't worry me. It's dropping silly points to mid-table and relegation fodder. That's what really bothers me. And
The ones that you would expect us to turn up in is where we struggle, isn't it?
yeah, we'll beat Liverpool and then we'll go and draw at Southampton 2 weeks later.
Mm. Hmm.
That would just be typical United. But
And is it the
anyway,
international break as well after
it
Liverpool?
is. It is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
2 week break. So we shall leave it there. Please, everybody, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and get more of your comments in, and I will reply to those. On Brush, I will see you next week after the Liverpool game.
Yep, definitely. Hopefully, with 3 points better off.
Let's hope so. Yeah, I can see it happening. I can see it happening.